Welcome to the Mighty Baker Podcast. I am Pete Tidwell, your host. I am a custom cake artist, bakery business coach, certified life coach, and the CEO at my bakery business, The Mighty Baker. You might have seen me winning Food Network's Cake Wars, competing on Halloween Baking Championship, or have tasted one of my delicious custom cakes or desserts. Either way, I am so happy that you're here today. I'm obsessed with the art of baking and caking, but I'm even more passionate about helping others live a happy life. Join me here every Wednesday as I share highlights and learnings from my ongoing journey as a bakery business owner. I will also be sharing positive mindset tips and business and life tips along the way, as well as inviting some of my baker friends that I have met over the years on TV baking competition shows. It's going to be a blast, and we are going to have so much fun because here in the world of the Mighty Baker, cake is life. So come on, and let's jump right in the mixing bowl and see what is being mixed up and discussed in this week's episode of the Mighty Baker Podcast. Let's go. Hey, what's up, you guys? Pete Tidwell here with the Mighty Baker Podcast. This is episode 30. Welcome. So glad that you are here. So, if you are joining us for the first time, go back and listen to episode 25 and then listen on up through these because it'll give you context and some background on what I'm talking about. And what I'm doing is we've been doing kind of like a 4-part series where I'm going through and telling my story of opening my business, operating from home, from a private commercial kitchen, from a storefront, and back and forth, and in and out of corporate jobs. And based on my experience in my career and what my experience has been like, and sharing that, and hopefully sharing some things that will be of value to the listener at home who may be interested in the bakery industry or wants to open a bakery someday, or is just interested in, some of the things I'm talking about. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to share that because I feel there's so much value that I can provide. And then I'm going to take it one step further and I'm going to start interviewing people on my podcast and ask them about their experience as a baker or as a dessert maker, as a pastry chef, as a business owner, entrepreneurs. I am so excited just to be able to see and interview and hear about other people's experiences. So stay tuned for that. That's not going to be for another probably 5 or 6 episodes, but just keep that in mind. That's something that's going to be coming. So as a recap, if you listened to last week, so where we left off was we had closed my shop down. I was operating from a private commercial kitchen. I was building out my cake creation studio concept and building out the business plan and scouting out locations. So that's where we find ourselves this week. So also something I mentioned is I went back to a full-time job. So I have a marketing and communications and advertising background, and that's where I've spent a lot of my time over the last 10 to 13 years in and out of corporate jobs and self-employment. And in 2018, when I closed my shop down, I had to go back and get a full-time job to support my family. And so I went back, got a full-time corporate marketing job, a 9-to-5 traditional job. We're kind of at the end of 2019, and we're building out this amazing business. The business plan was done. I picked a location finally because I was looking at so many different ones. I was looking at downtown Provo. There's actually a sweet shop there, a little cake and dessert shop. I looked there. I looked in Pleasant Grove, I looked in a few other places, and nothing really felt right. So one day, I got a call from a friend of mine asking if I'd be interested in moving in over at the shops at Riverwoods. And that was a very interesting thing. So I went over there and met with them, and the shop down there that everybody in Utah County is familiar with is Blickenstaff's. It is a toy shop with games and candy and all sorts of things. And they used to have a really long space, and they were looking to cut their space in half and then find another tenant to take over the other half. So I agreed and decided to sign a 3-year lease down there, and it was starting January of 2020. So up in front of that, we were doing construction in the shop, getting it painted, getting it built out, all those kind of things, getting a custom mural done. I'll post pictures about this because it was beautiful, and now it's painted over now that the shop is closed and I'm out of there. But anyway, we'll get into that. But January 2020, we had some fun holiday kind of pre-opening fun events, getting people in the space, and it was incredible. It was a dream come true. It was everything exactly what I wanted. It was beautiful. I remember sitting there the day before we opened, just sitting there looking at how beautiful the space was and crying, having tears come to my eyes because it was a dream come true. I had built this concept and I could see it with my own eyes. And it was so cool to be able to see the vision that I had and then the creation of it, the actual thing in person. I could touch it and feel it and see it and smell it. And it was so amazing. It was very, very satisfying. And so we opened. Our first couple months were incredible. It was so awesome. We had a first couple months. We had great responses, customers coming in the door. It was incredible. Good, positive things happening. And it was amazing. But then, as you all know, something happened in the beginning of 2020 that kind of derailed and kind of messed up and screwed up a lot of people's lives for a very long time, and we're still dealing with some of the effects from it. But March 2020, that was when COVID-19 hit, the big COVID-19 thing, and I remember when that happened, I was at my full-time job, and then I had heard all these things going on, and then just the trickle effect of everything happening. Like the next thing I knew, I was working from home from my 9-to-5 job. My shop was completely closed. No customers could come in. I was closed to the public and had to be closed to the public. And it was a shock to the system. And especially just 3 months after I opened my shop. It was so crazy. I sat there and I was like, no way. Like, this can't be happening. Like, what are we going to do? Like, we just barely launched, and now our whole business is based on people gathering and decorating cakes. How is this going to work? So, I found myself and I had employees too. I had employees that I had to be like, you don't get as many hours because I don't have stuff for you to do. And we came up with this idea where we put our do-it-yourself decorating kits, and we did those so that people could have them delivered to their home. So we took these orders and then delivered do-it-yourself cake kits and do-it-yourself gingerbread house kits later in the year. And we were like trying to do so many things to keep the doors, or not keep the doors open, but keep the business open with the doors closed, right? And that's a little bit hard when you have a retail experience-based shop, is to grow your business with your doors closed. Not the easiest thing to do. So we did that. And any of you that are listening that are local here in Utah, I just want to say a specific thank you and gratitude that I want to send through the airwaves to say thank you for your support in those moments of me and other small businesses. That was a time that small businesses really, really, really needed the help. They still need help. So shop local at your local businesses, because these small business owners, they're fighting tooth and nail to keep these places open. So, but that's where I found myself. I found myself in this place, and thank goodness I had a full-time job, because my family was taken care of from a financial standpoint. But then my business, my employees, like, what do I do? So thank goodness for that. I was very, very grateful in the moment for that piece. But we did that for a while. And then eventually, once things kind of loosened up, we were able to open our doors, and people had to wear masks and those kind of things. And for the whole year of 2020 and a lot of 2021, like, sales were just kind of up and down a little bit, especially 2020. It was a rough year. Like some months we'd like barely hit our break even point, and then some months we would fall way, way below. And then some months we'd do really, really good, and then it would go back down again. It was just roller coastery all over the place. And I had to keep investing more money and borrowing more money to keep the place open. And eventually it got a little bit frustrating. And I'm going through this story a little bit quick, and I'll go back and talk about some of the glory days of this place. But I just want to talk through this because, I found myself at this time that I'm like, what am I going to do for my business? Like, we've been open, and that was, we stayed open for 2.5 years. And at the end of 2021, we found ourselves in this place where cash flow was all over the place, and all the increased costs and supply chain costs and all those kind of things. It was a bit of a mess. It was such a mess. And we tried keeping up with it. We increased prices for customers, all those kind of things. And even the Riverwoods did a few things for us to help us to be able to succeed as a business. And the one thing I did to try to rescue the business a little bit was to leave my full-time job in 2022, January of this year. I left because I'm like, I need to quit my job. I need to put all my energy into my business and see if we can save this thing. And so I did. I jumped off. We tried so many different things. Sales still remained very unpredictable. And cash flow just was not there. And I got to the point where I was done borrowing more money. I owe enough money to different, like banks or my parents or those kind of things. I'm like, you know what? I just can't keep borrowing against that anymore to keep this place open. And it's just not worth keeping it open. And I had this conversation with myself multiple times because I loved this business so much. The concept was incredible. It was a do-it-yourself cake and cupcake decorating studio. We did hundreds of cakes and people coming to decorate their cakes there, and just dreams come true. High school groups, daddy-daughter dates, girls' night out, corporate team building, like so many things. The business was incredible and created so many great memories for people. So thank you for all those that supported. But when it comes to business, we open businesses to make money. And unfortunately, if businesses get to the point where they're not making money, you got to pull the string because something's not working. Plus, and actually probably the biggest plus, is COVID hit. And it's never been the same economically since COVID. And so it's just been a mess. And we got to the point in July of this year, 2022, that I decided to pull the plug and close the thing down completely because I couldn't continue hemorrhaging the money for this business. And it was such a hard decision, you guys. It was such a hard thing. I've had to go through many processing type things with life coaches and therapists and other things, trying to go over just some of the drama and some of the challenging thoughts that come up when I think about closing a shop, even especially closing a second shop. It was a really big hit to my self-confidence, to me. And the first shop was a huge hit to my self-confidence because I put so much of myself in that. And not that I didn't put myself as much into this one. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it didn't hit quite as hard, but it still hit really, really hard and really deep. And we closed the shop down, and now I am so much more happier. It was really sad to have to close and sad to let down customers and my employees and those kind of things. But in closing my shop, I actually did something that I knew needed to be done, and I pulled the plug on it. And I'm so proud of myself for seeing the numbers and recognizing that that was the right thing to do in the moment. It's a hard thing to do, right? A hard thing to do, especially when you have your dream come true business open, everything, and the numbers aren't going right. Like, it can be very easy, and I've done this before. Just keep pushing through, keep putting more money in, keep doing this. But when you're going against a battle of, some of my costs were triple, quadruple, 5 times as much, all those kind of things, it gets out of hand. And, it was all for a deeper purpose, really. And it was sad I had to close, but now I look back and it's the most perfect thing in the world in my story, because during 2021, when we were trying to survive and trying to, do better in the business, I was still working full time. I needed something in 2021, and that was life coaching. I found the life coaching program through the Life Coach School. And if you want to learn about that, go back to episode 2. You can kind of listen to some of the things in my journey through the Life Coach School, or the first 24 episodes of this podcast, of the things that I learned through that. But I went through this certification as a life coach through 2021, and that set me up for my future. When I took that, I knew that I wanted to do some kind of coaching. In last week's episode, I mentioned that I sat on my floor in my closing bakery and said to myself that I was going to start this business. And I remember sitting in my shop, my second shop, my cake creation studio, about to close it, and then reminded myself of that. And that's where I find myself today. So looking back in the not so distant past, I just closed this down a few months ago, but that's where I find myself. I am now running my business, The Mighty Baker, from a private commercial kitchen. I started a coaching business, trying to coach other people on their businesses and help them through those hard times, and help them with managing their time better, and managing their marketing better, and managing their mind better. If you can manage those 3 things, you're going to be in a pretty good place as a business owner. Anyway, that's where I find myself today. And I'm so excited for the future. I'm so excited for next steps for my business, because now I'm kind of road wide open trying to figure out what's next for the Mighty Baker. And it's actually quite exciting, because I've got a lot of really fun experiences that I've had over the years. So anyway, hope you are all having an amazing day. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Please join us next time, because I'm going to continue on. And what I'm going to talk about is what's going on now that it's, end of 2022, my shop's closed. What are next steps for the bakery? What are next steps for the Mighty Baker? What am I going to do? So I'm going to talk about that next week. So come join us. It's going to be amazing. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Season 2 is going to be incredible, so please keep joining us. The Mighty Baker has a lot of exciting things going on. Head to themightybaker.com or follow us on social media at The Mighty Baker to stay updated on what we have coming down the pipeline. Are you or someone you know a bakery business owner? If so, you gotta check out my bakery business coaching. I am now taking on one-on-one clients and helping them create sweet success in their bakery business and their life. Head to bakerybusinesscoach.com to learn more about my coaching program and sign up for a free 30-minute coaching session. I want to coach you on any bakery business problem that is holding you back from growing and from enjoying your everyday life. Please join us next time on the Mighty Baker podcast. This is your host, Pete Tidwell, signing off and reminding you to make your day a mighty one.